Yo, what's going on, guys? And today I wanted to discuss the Minnesota Timberwolves offseason, which I think at first it looked like they were doing salary cap gymnastics. Interesting. They sold the team. Can I just say my bit about them selling the team? I want to hear your thoughts about the offseason, LaMelo, and all that. But the Mark to Mark sell, 2 marks. Because, look, everybody knows that Mark Lore. It was it Mark Lore or Mark Laurie? It's Mark Lore, right? Like you're telling like a lore. Either way, the moral of the story is they bought the team on layaway, on credit. And I went on a series of tweets, and maybe that's the best way to put that together, but I think this was a whole the whole time I think Mark didn't have the money. And Alex Rodriguez, yeah, he made a bunch of money off of baseball, but he didn't have the money either. So they bought the team with a bunch of credit, and they had Bloomberg come in at the last second and save the deal. Now, when all the debt is coming up, maybe he already financed it a second time and didn't have to worry. But to me, the biggest thing was I think the bills were coming due. Everything was getting more expensive, and Mark sold out. Not like that there's a problem to it. It's just like, yo, let's not act like he was like this. Like he saved the day. Yes, Glenn Taylor sucked. And Mark is gone. Like, I don't even know what to expect. It's just this weird situation where I hope it doesn't turn into a Dundons, because they're talking about arena as soon as this deal happens. So the whole thing is, first off, Mark Laurie, and I wonder how much Alex Rodriguez actually has in this team, but Alex Rodriguez and Mark Laurie bought the team on credit. I think the bill was coming due. Teams were selling high because of private equity and sovereign wealth funds sold the share and was able to get out and make probably a profit and become an actual billionaire. Then the new guys are saying they want a stadium. So I think, to me, the biggest thing looking forward is LaMelo and Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert. Okay, that's the big three is Jaden McDaniels and Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball. Rudy Gobert, you're hoping that Johan Berenger is going to slowly succeed him. So sorry for the rambling the first 2 minutes about that. I'll remind myself to edit the description to go ahead. But now, to me, the biggest thing when we look at a team that last year, they were one of the best teams in the NBA, a top 10 squad, had one of the better net ratings. They were a two-way squad. Now, I think the biggest change is going to have a point guard. Yeah, Mike Conley started to pick up at the end of the season, but they never had the true Mike Conley. They had an older version of Mike Conley, even in his best version. This was a team that was solid on both ends, built on defense, a decent rebounding team. Their perimeter defense is going to be questionable, but the whole idea is Gobert, even if he's a step slower, he's going to be and they have Berger. They're going to funnel everything to their bigs using the perimeter defenders that they have. They have LaMelo Ball, that I think in the system that he's in and just like the environment, he's going to get to the level that we hope. Because look, he's a former All-Star, and the whole thing is that people need to understand what they gave up. Nas and the draft capital, which is just late first round picks, for potentially an all NBA player who, like, that's his ceiling. Even if everything hit right, you're talking a guy who could even be fringe MVP candidate, like just as good as Anthony Edwards. You're not going to get someone for that price that good. So you basically are taking a bet on that's going to happen, which was a smart one on Tim Conley and for what you had. And that's what you turned Julius Randle and Nas. Like, losing Nas sucks, but I think you're believing in the idea of a Io DeSumo, Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, Jaden McDaniels. And with what you saw in the NBA Finals, yes, a lot of the teams were able to go with 2 back-to-basket bigs and duke it out physically. But also, if you look at the Knicks, they had the Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, Karl Towns, or Mitchell Robinson. And that's like basically 3 wings and a big. And they were able to do that. And I think that's what you're kind of seeing here with Jay McDaniels, Io DeSumo, and LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards, just because of the size. So you finally have a lead guard who's going to be able to create a shot creator and be a secondary playmaker next to the offensive engine that Mr. Anthony Edwards. You also brought in Josh Green, who was on a NBA Finals team that was runner-up in the Dallas Mavericks, who's a good 3-and-D guy. People forget he was like the number 1 ranked recruit, or like a top 5 ranked recruit coming out of high school. And he's someone who is going to be able to come in and provide solid 3-and-D and doesn't need the ball in his hand. Trey Lyles, they brought it back over from overseas after a productive season, and he is really going to be able to stretch the floor and replace hopefully some of that Nas Reed production, which obviously isn't going to be the easiest thing to do. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, Nas is, I think Julius is, no offense, like, I have nothing against him. He's a guy, 2-time All NBA player, who is very much someone who needs to have the right roster to play well. But to him, he is someone that I think 2-time All NBA is actually going to be, addition by subtraction for the Wolves, just because he needs the ball in his hands. And Trey Lyles being able to space the floor, and the young guys hopefully stepping up, will allow you to have a better offense, in my opinion. And I think that's just how it was. And him playing Real Madrid, he was solid there. Isaiah Evans, I think he'll need a redshirt year just because not IQ wise, I think he has the right feel for the game. It's just, he's one of those guys, just a year in the G League, first off, just physically, and then just understanding what he needs to like understand that he's like a specialist, or like how to like be a specialist and be really good at it. So I think a year in the G will help him, which we've seen with a lot of guys do, like, work out for them. Now, for the rest of the roster, I think Trent Kaufman-Ren's a 2-way guy who could end up getting some minutes, end up getting converted because he's an older. And like, look, he's a little undersized, more of a undersized 5, but he'll play the combo big. However, the whole thing is, I think they're going a little bit more agile. The Sumo signed that 112 5-year deal, with him being a big part of the team. I think he'll either start or obviously be the 6th man. I really want to know what they do with even Tenzo's contract. Jalen Clark was one of their perimeter attack defenders off the bench that they needed to keep. Bones Highland, a good microwave scorer off the bench, but he needs to be like your 8th or 9th or close to your 10th guy. No offense to him. Enrique Freeman, similar like Trey Kaufman-Renn, just like who I love for Enrique Freeman, just undersized big who a lot of things needs to bode well for him to have there. But you lose these 2 front court players, and you're hoping that the balance of just your offense becoming better and having more talent with LaMelo leaving. I think, as I mentioned, a LaMelo, DeSuma, Edwards, McDaniels, Gobert starting lineup. I really think when you're looking at the backup unit, is the Bones Highland, Jalen Clark, Terrence Shannon, like bench lineups, are those going to be able to carry? Especially like in the regular season, I think this team is fine. I really don't mind. It's in the playoffs. Are you gonna have enough ammo to go up against OKC or the Spurs? Have the size and the depth. Really, just we've seen like the biggest thing is the size. Johan Berger is going to be a big part. I think I have faith in him. He looks good. To me, he's someone I'm not concerned with. But as I mentioned, you have Trey Lyles, Berger, Jalen Clark, Terrence Shannon, Bones Highland, Josh Green, second unit behind, as I mentioned. Maybe Josh Green or Jalen Clark starts and you have DeSuma as the sixth man, but he's making like $19 million, so you're just betting on the offense improving a ton. And I'm again, like, maybe another big, because Rocco, Enrique, and Trey Kaufman, Ren are the only bigs behind Johan and Rudy. So to me, I think that's like one area. The wings, you're seriously betting on Terrence Shannon and Jalen Clark, with obviously Bones at guard and Trey Lyles at the forward position, who will also be a small ball big. But to me, I think there's a lot of swings you're hoping for. And it's Dante could come back, and I'm not saying that like him coming back wouldn't be a game changer, but having another I don't know what five is out there, like, or combo big would be out to help them. In theory, Mo Wagner could have been good, but let me hear your thoughts. That's where I'm at. We'll do a preview later on. Cheers.